Did you have the knife in your hand at that point?
No.
Where was the knife?
It was in my pocket.
Could you get up?
No.
Why not?
There was just so many people.
Do you find the defendant guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Raul Valle found not guilty in the stabbing death of 17-year-old Jimmy McGrath, but the jury was hung on many of the lesser charges. So will he be indicted again? We'll discuss. Plus, a mom is arrested after her toddler dies inside of her hot car. And what's more, police say she was getting lip filler at the time. We'll share the wild new details out of California. Plus, in our spotlight for you this hour, did two parents try to kill their own daughter after an alleged arranged marriage? A judge hands down a big ruling in the attempted honor killing trial happening in Washington. And closing arguments expected today in the widow's words murder trial for defendant Karina Cooper. We're asking, who had the deadly weapon? It's all coming up next for you right here on Opening Statements. Good Thursday morning, my friends, or should I say happy Friday Eve. I'm Julie Grant, and this is Opening Statements. This is a show where we get you all warmed up and ready to go for the big day ahead on Court TV Live. And oh, it's going to be a big one. So we're going to start things off, as we always do, by having you grab that cup of coffee or tea or hot water with lemon, whatever you like in the morning. It's time for my opening statement. A small victory for those seeking justice for Aliza Sherman. Her accused killer is now on electronic monitoring while he awaits his trial. Aliza's divorce attorney, her once trusted confidant and fiduciary, is the defendant in her murder case. Let that sink in for a second. Defendant Gregory Moore posted his $2 million bond, and after a hearing on Wednesday, the judge ordered him to be put on GPS monitoring, thank goodness, while he awaits his trial. Now, Aliza Sherman's daughter told the judge that Aliza's 4 children have been waiting 4,491 days exactly since their mother was stabbed to death in downtown Cleveland, Ohio on March 24th, 2013, to see somebody brought to justice. Aliza's friends say that she was a loving mother. She was a helper. She was 53 years old at the time of her death and a nurse at Cleveland Clinic. And she was about to go to trial in family court to divorce her husband. Now disgraced divorce attorney Gregory Moore was the one representing her. Police say he was unprepared to try her case. Police say he was behind her murder. Now, you might think, wow, that sounds pretty crazy, right? Well, let me tell you, this isn't just any lawyer we've got here. Gregory Moore used to call in bomb threats to courthouses to delay the cases that he was unprepared to try. Yes, you heard me correctly, bomb threats. So there's that. And bomb threats are a far cry from the old, the dog ate my homework excuse, right? So Mr. Bomb Threat Maker will be back in court for his next pretrial hearing for his homicide case on July 30th. And in the meantime, I'm sending my good thoughts and prayers to Aliza Sherman's family and friends. They have already waited far too long for justice to be served. That's my opening statement this Thursday. Let me know if you like it. Right now, it's time for your daily docket.
Indicating to you, based on your prior testimony, that both shots were fired at close range.
Yes.
Were you able to make a determination regarding the cause of death?
Yes.
What was that?
Gunshot wounds of head.
Were you able to make a determination regarding manner of death?
Yes.
And what was that?
Homicide.
In Iowa, we've got the closing arguments today in the widow's words murder trial for defendant Karina Cooper. Court's going to start up at 10 a.m. Eastern in that one. In Massachusetts, we've got Jalen Lambert with a probable cause hearing. So this 17-year-old defendant is being charged as an adult, accused in the murder of his 20-year-old brother, Jaleel Simmons. Now, the two got into an argument at home, and then Lambert allegedly shot his brother in the chest. That hearing starts up at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Live. And In Washington State, we've got jury selection underway in the next huge trial we're going to be bringing you. It is the attempted honor killing trial for Ihsan and Zahra Ali. The parents are accused of trying to kill their own daughter. Opening statements in that one is expected to kick off on Monday. So we'll keep you posted on that, and we're going to be talking about it a little more later this morning here on our opening statement show. But right now, we want to turn to our top story for you, and that is what is next for Raul Valle, the 20-year-old waking up somewhat of a free man this morning.
Will the defendant, Raul Valle, please rise and face the jury? Do you find the defendant guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
After more than 13 hours of deliberations, Valle in the Preppy Party murder trial was found not guilty of the crime of murder. The victim, Jimmy McGrath, 17-year-old star lacrosse player. The jury also found him not guilty of assault in the first degree in the stabbings of Ryan Hines, Thomas Connery, and Faison Teal. The jury was deadlocked on the lesser charges. Now, this comes after Mr. Valle rejected 2 plea offers of 40 years in prison. He was 16 years old at the time of the stabbings in May of 2022, was facing 60 years in prison if convicted. 3 other teenage boys were also stabbed the night that awful fight broke out at those house parties. So what's next for Valle? So we've got the reckless assault that the jury was deadlocked on. Are these prosecutors going to go and indict him on those charges and try to proceed further? Or are they just going to let this case stay right where the jury left it? Let's bring in our legal analyst guest and talk about that. With me this morning, it's Thursday, so we've got our regular friends, Michael J. Brown and John Phillips, 2 high-profile attorneys to talk about this high-profile case. Good morning, gentlemen. All right, so what is going to happen in criminal court? Is anything more going to happen? I know that I read in some of the local reporting that the attorney representing Jimmy McGrath's family made a comment that surely the prosecution is going to be trying to pursue these lesser charges and indict him again, but I don't want to speak for them. So he doesn't know firmly, and the prosecution did not say a word. They didn't come out and issue any statement. So we're all kind of wondering, what are they going to do? Michael J. Brown, let me go to you on this criminal law question. What do you think we're going to see happen here, and why, please?
Good morning, John. Good morning, Julie. I don't think you're going to see any further prosecution. Here in New York, it's an indictment, and on an indictment, they don't have to re-indict when there's a deadlocked jury. They simply need to go forward on those same charges. Obviously, the top counts where he was acquitted, those are out. There's double jeopardy, so those are finished. On the lower charges, I would find it surprising if the prosecution is going to go forward on those charges. Remember, Julie, when you have a trial, now the defense has seen everything. Everybody was subject to cross-examination. You have a complete transcript. And I don't think it gets better for the prosecution. I actually think it gets worse because now you have a prior testimony. I see John's agreeing with that. We've done this before. We've had prior transcripts, and it's hard to prove it the second go-round if you couldn't do it the first go-round.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Great point, Michael. We heard Kevin McGrath, who's Jimmy McGrath's father, speak out after the verdict. Let's take a listen together to that moment.
I'm astonished at the result, but you know, it's due process. He's entitled to it, and at the end of the day, the jury made their verdict. I'm not sure, you know, if they're in the same courtroom as we all were together, but that's the verdict, and we'll live with it, and we'll work closely with the prosecution to get resolution. I was ready for maybe manslaughter. I was not ready for not guilty. I'll be honest with you, I don't think anybody was here.
heart goes out to that father. I know you both feel for him. John Phillips, I want to ask you about something that people are already talking about. You do a lot of civil work, and we understand that there may be a big civil fight next as the families of Faison Teal and Jimmy McGrath have filed lawsuits against Raul Valle, against Valle's parents, against Tyler De Silva and De Silva's parents, as well as the family of Jack Snyder. John, your thoughts on whether this battle may move from criminal court to civil court given that verdict?
So generally, and good morning, y'all. Generally, what you see is the civil attorneys are kind of the horse at the gate, right? And the gate's up. It's sometimes stayed, sometimes it's kind of an unofficial stay because you're worried about the Fifth Amendment. But, you know, the civil attorneys are ready, champing at the bit to get going. But at the same time, you saw that father, your viewers saw that father. You know, he's disappointed. And even Raul looked a little surprised by the verdict. And you know, this has been a ongoing multiple year battle. This is a minor. I kind of disagree, and I never get to disagree with Michael, but I have a feeling there might be a refile, if nothing else, just to see if they can renegotiate at a lower level, not 40 years anymore, you know? And they're going to have a lot of pressure in that, you know, I've been in that room where the dad and the mom sit there and say, no, like get justice for our kid. And it's hard to say no on a case like this, even though it will be very difficult to get a you know, conviction second time around.
Excellent points, John. You know, and to your point, I thought the prosecution's offer of 40 years was crazy. I thought that was really unreasonable. I thought, I'm glad he rejected that. Who would take that at 20 years old for a questionable incident? It's not like this was an obvious premeditated murder. No, there was a legit question of self-defense. And so I often think, you know, did they over-try this, you know, by essentially offering a plea to murder and we'll give you 40? Well, oh, gee, I'm going to jump at that deal. What defendant's going to do that? I wonder, you know, and John, let me go to you on this. What do you think could have resolved this? I wonder if they had come at, you know, Mr. Valle and said, look, if we offer you something like, I believe in Connecticut, they have a reckless manslaughter, something like that, with a term of imprisonment, but a lengthier term of probation and supervised release and pay restitution, you know, to the families and, you know, for all the injuries, all that. I wonder if this could have been solved that way. What do you think, John?
We see that all the time. I mean, most of these cases, I represent the victims. I'm in the room, and I'm preparing the parents for that press conference and for the dad to outright say, you know, we at least expected manslaughter meant that some victims advocates, some lawyers had gotten to him and said, these really are the challenges. And some families of victims don't want to see the challenges. They're just all about defending their child or their loved one that was murdered or wrongfully killed. And here you know, you have a family that was caught up in this multiple year battle and a prosecutor that did seem to go too far with the offers. And so that's kind of why I think that there might be, you know, hopefully a voice of reason that says, okay, let's kind of look back at this again. But yeah, I mean, with somebody that was 16 years old at the time too, you know, 40 years is just that's life, you know, essentially.
Right, right, John. Michael J. Brown, a final word to you on this point here. Do you think prosecutors might have made a mistake here in going so hard on this case, on these facts?
Yeah, Julie, you're boxing them in a corner. You're not giving any option for the defense other than to go to trial. And that's not really how our system works, especially on a case of this nature where there's really questionable issues. So, yeah, I think they didn't offer anything reasonable.
Yeah, and I think, you know, maybe that young man looks scared to death to me. I think if there was a reasonable offer, and I think, you know, he had very good counsel, I think they could have walked him through, okay, you know, take responsibility for this. That, you know, manslaughter is a lot better than murder, to have a murder conviction at 20. So interesting to look back at now that we've got this verdict. I'm so glad we have you both on the show to talk about more cases. John Phillips, Michael J. Brown, stand by, please. We'll hit a break. Go refill your coffee, my friends at home. When we come back, here's what's coming up.
Now,
has been made in the case. Kristen Brock's 17-year-old daughter, Sarah Grace Patrick, has been taken into custody and charged with 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of aggravated assault in connection with the deaths of her mother and her stepfather.
It was a murder that shook a Georgia community. A couple found shot to death in their own home. And now, guess what? Their own teenage daughter is accused. Plus,
hands behind your back now. You guys step back.
this is just incredible, this case. And we got a big ruling from the judge in our newest trial. The trial is kicking off on Monday. This is the attempted honor killing case. We'll talk about what prosecutors won't be able to say when the case begins.
Matriarch of the Adelson family gets arrested.
Donna Adelson is facing charges of murder, the death of her former son-in-law, Dan Markell.
Prosecutors say a bitter child custody battle was the motive for the murder-for-hire plot. Now that Donna has turned into a defendant, what's next for the Adelson clan?
Now that the ship is really sinking fast, blood doesn't matter that much.
The Matriarch Mastermind murder trial. Live coverage begins this August on Court TV.
Now for what's trending in true crime, as the community is mourning the death of a 1-year-old baby boy. His mother is facing manslaughter charges for allegedly leaving him in her hot car while she went to get lip filler.
I couldn't stop screaming. I just kept picturing them alone. I can't even imagine what they went through. They were strapped in their car seats. They couldn't even get up to save themselves. She literally locked them in their car seats and shut the doors.
This is so horrific. Police say Emilio Gutierrez and his 2-year-old brother were left in a hot car while temperatures reached over 100 degrees. This happened in California. So where was their mom? Well, police say she was inside of a doctor's office for a cosmetic appointment. The 2-year-old child fortunately survived, but the 1-year-old child, Emilio, died at a local hospital later. 20-year-old Maya Hernandez, his mother, was arraigned Wednesday on charges of involuntary manslaughter and child cruelty. Police say that her sons were left in the car for at least 90 minutes time without air conditioning. The vehicle's internal temperature reached up to 143 degrees. Police say that she had left the car on and running, so the air conditioning was running initially, but the car had a feature that it automatically shut it off after so much time. Now she's being held on $1 million bond, set to appear in court tomorrow for her preliminary hearing. So we're going to keep you posted on that. In the meantime, what do you think about this case? And will we hear of any defense for Maya Hernandez? Let's talk about it. Our legal eagles are still with us. John Phillips and Michael J. Brown. Want to welcome in parenting and family relationship expert and author Dr. Sue Kornbluth. Good morning to you all. Dr. Sue, let me start with you, please. Your thoughts on this mom?
Well, first of all, it's horrific, right? And people are feeling that way about this. But there are reasons sometimes things like this happen from a psychological standpoint. Many times this happens because of sleep deprivation or parent burnout or all kinds of different kinds of stress. The problem in this particular case that I see with this young lady is that she knew that she left them in the car with the air on. She turned the air conditioning on, knowing that she left them in that car. That seems intentional to me. And look, as a parent, sometimes we all feel burnout and we want to get our needs met and be pampered and do things like that, but not at the expense of our children.
Right. Right, Dr. Sue. It's horrific. John Phillips, let me go to you next. Your thoughts, and is anything coming to mind early on in this stage of a defense for her, and anything you think we could possibly hear about tomorrow when she goes to court?
I've had multiple of these cases, including the loss of young Uriah Page, who there's a law in Florida, the Uriah's law, that resulted from her babysitter leaving in her car. And that babysitter, to the doctor's point, forgot, and that's the whole should we have a shoe back there kind of thing. This mom did not. And this mom infuriates me more than most moms because she was busy getting duck lips and Botox for 2 hours with her kids in the car. And to make matters worse, California law, as I understand it, says anybody under 6 cannot be left in a car for any reason with any supervision. So you did this on purpose while you're focused on your vanity. I hope the police, prosecutors, civil attorneys, it's kind of hard when it's your own child to have a wrongful death suit, but I hope they all come after her with full everything.
John, I'm sure so many people watching this segment now feel the exact same way. Thank you for all of that. Michael J. Brown, last but certainly not least on the panel on this question, your thoughts? And of course, we've got to ask you if there's any defense you see for her in criminal court.
This is a tough one. John hit on two really good points. One is it's not a 2-minute running in for a quart of milk type of situation. This is vanity. This is getting your cosmetic surgery, and it's in excess of 90 minutes. Those are really two fatal factors for her on the criminal prosecution end. The only thing that struck me right off the bat when I read about this case initially, Julie, is, well, she had this belief that the car could run indefinitely with the air conditioning on, which would keep the temperature at 70 degrees or 72 degrees, and the kids would be okay. Again, nobody should leave kids strapped in a seat because they could have other issues independent of the heat. They may be in distress for other issues. So very difficult case to defend, but initially that's what I had thought about is, hey, I didn't know about this feature in my car. I thought it would run. I thought they would be okay. Try selling that to a jury, no way, but that's all we got to go with.
Great points. Michael, thank you for all of that. Let's turn to another case now that's trending this morning. A teenager looking at 2 homicide charges for allegedly killing her own mother and her stepfather. Look at her. This is the defendant. Police believe 17-year-old Sarah Grace Patrick shot and killed her mother and her stepfather in their home back in February. She turned herself in to authorities on Tuesday, months after she called 911 to report the killings. The bodies of James and Kristen Brock were found by the couple's 5-year-old daughter. That's Patrick's younger sister, okay? Motive still remains unclear, although there's no evidence of any forced entry in the home. Investigators are confident that mountains of evidence only point to one person.
So I believe in the beginning of any case, everyone's a suspect. I think I told many of you that when we were on scene that day. However, as an investigation continues and everything ebbs and flows, like I said in my press release, mountains of evidence has gotten us through here today. Lots of processing, lots of working with our law enforcement partners to get us to where we are today that honed in on her as a suspect. Considering that she didn't just immediately tell us what happened, yes. But who knows what's going on in a young person's mind like that. But she has been arrested and charged now, and we feel confident that she is responsible for their murders.
They're charging her as an adult, so we're asking, should there be any hesitation in this case to charge this teenager as an adult? Let's bring in our power panel. Michael J. Brown, let me start with you this time. Thoughts on that, please?
Julie, initially, I agree, charge her as an adult. I think this case is very interesting. I think we're going to find out a lot more as this case goes on. Something tells me there's either a significant mental component, there is either a significant drug or alcohol issue here with this young girl, or, and this is complete speculation, that there's some wrongdoing in that home, that this young lady felt the need to kill her parents. I find it very difficult to go and do this act without something behind it. And I think as the case develops, we're going to find out a lot more about this case than we know right now.
Oh, Michael, I think you're exactly right. Thank you for that. Dr. Sue, dovetailing off of what Michael touched on, of course, people are thinking, is there a mental health component at play here? Curious your thoughts and any questions that you may have on that.
Thanks, Julie. I agree with Michael here 100%. We are going to see a lot of information come out, probably about this young lady's mental health and about what was going on in this home behind closed doors. One thing that I did read about this was that she had a history of being in a lot of different homes. Now, that tells me a lot there already, that there probably was some kind of trauma that was going on. She was from a divorced family going back and forth. She probably didn't feel that she was wanted or that she belonged. And there's always some kind of trauma that goes on in these families that leads a child, that's what she is, a child, to take such a severe act to stop the pain that she is under. Now, if she committed these crimes, of course, justice needs to be served. But remember, there usually is a mental health component here that just can't always be dismissed.
I appreciate that, Dr. Sue. Thank you. John Phillips, will you take us home? Your thoughts, and of course, want to know your thoughts on the charging decision as well, please.
I agree with everybody so far, so I can kind of make it quick. The other interesting thing is this was Carroll County, Georgia, GBI and FBI that looked at this. So it's a multi-resourced, charge so far. And there's just going to be so much more to this story because without, a history, you don't ever, you should never see a child kill their parents.
Yeah, so right. Great points from you all. We're going to be covering this case very closely, and we'll leave it here for now. Dr. Sue Kornbluth, we have to say goodbye to you. Thank you for coming on the show this morning. We'll see you soon. And still ahead here on Opening Statements, we're shining a spotlight on the attempted honor killing of a young girl in Washington State. This is according to police. Police say that her parents tried to murder her because she wouldn't go along with an arranged marriage. What? We'll talk about that with our criminology expert guest next. Plus, who had the gun? We're looking at the deadly shooting case in the widow's words murder trial of Karina Cooper. Welcome back to Opening Statements. This morning, we're spotlighting a shocking case of an attempted alleged honor killing at a Washington State high school. A mother and a father are behind bars this morning after police say that they attacked their own daughter and her boyfriend. I want to show you what bystanders saw from a bus, and I want to warn you that what you're about to see, this video is from the Daily Mail. It's difficult to watch. Lots of bystanders, friends, classmates, whoever they are, coming to the rescue of that child and her boyfriend. We've got more now on the background of this case from Court TV crime and justice correspondent Matt Johnson.
So everything's audio video recorded, okay? Okay.
Ihsan Ali and his wife Zara Ali are facing several charges, including attempted murder after allegedly attacking their daughter after she ran away from home. According to court documents, the 17-year-old ran away to escape being forced into an arranged marriage with an older man in another country. Her father also allegedly threatened her with honor killing for refusing the arrangement. The teen took refuge at Timberline High School on October 18th, 2024.
Do you understand each of these rights I've explained to you? I want to speak with my wife.
The girl's parents found her on the school campus as she walked with her 16-year-old boyfriend to a bus stop. Witnesses say her father, Ihsan, punched her boyfriend and choked the girl for about a minute. Cell phone video obtained by the Daily Mail captured the incident, which is disturbing to watch. As the girl went in and out of consciousness, her boyfriend and bystanders fought, breaking her free and pinning down her father until police arrived.
Hands behind your back. Hands behind your back now.
The girl's older sister was also there, but she faces no charges. The girl's mother, Zara Ali, allegedly tried to stop others from helping the girl and grabbed her by the neck as she ran away from her father. Zara had been banned from the school campus about a month prior for allegedly trying to grab the girl's boyfriend. Zara Ali's bail is set at $500,000, and Ihsan's bail is set at $1 million. Both are still in custody.
My goodness. Matt Johnson reporting there for us. Trial starts Monday. So they're picking the jury in this case, and we got a big ruling that came in a pretrial hearing on Wednesday. So I want to talk about all of this with our expert guest, criminology expert, author, and professor at St. Thomas University, Dr. Debbie Goodman, joining us live this morning. Dr. Debbie, great to see you as always. When we think about honor killings, I think this can be kind of a wait, what moment, you know, when you hear about that. I want to draw on your experience as a criminologist. When we think about what may be going on in the mind, any criminal intent that's happening, would you kind of help us reconcile these things, please?
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Julie. Just such a deep, dark, disturbing crime. But if we start with the why, potentially we have this theory in criminology we refer to as radical ideology theory. And I think that truly is at the heart of this matter, even though it's classified potentially as honor killing, and I don't like that terminology whatsoever. It should be dishonor. But nonetheless, it's when people become so radicalized, Julie, in whatever aspect it may be, whether it's a religion tenet or cultural, and it's as if that becomes the spotlight of the thoughts and the actions and the laws, the policies, the procedures seemingly go out the window. So we also call this, by the way, femicide. Femicide is when girls and women are targeted by male members of their family for retaliatory purpose. And then we can just conclude with a third category, and that is vigilante justice. We've talked about it several times on your show, even in other areas of murders, attempted murder, mass murder, where people think because of their belief system, this is how they want to proceed with violence.
This is such helpful insight from you, Dr. Debbie. I want to bounce something else off of you, please, as we're really on the eve of trial here. The judge made a ruling yesterday that the prosecution cannot make any mention of there being an arranged marriage during this trial. So apparently the backstory, as you know, Dr. Debbie, and for anybody just joining at home who may not be familiar, apparently these parents had an older man in another country that they wanted their daughter to marry. It was an arranged marriage, and she was not wanting to do that. She wasn't. She wanted to stay with her boyfriend. You heard Matt Johnson reporting there. That's why she kind of left home, was at the high school trying to be in a safe place because her parents were so upset with her. The judge said any mention of arranged marriage would cause prejudice to these defendants. Nobody can say it. Your thoughts on that, Dr. Debbie? Do you think that that's a fair ruling in this case? Why or why not, please?
Right. Well, if that's how the judge feels, then certainly that's the overarching decision. But either way, Julie, I think if that does get pushed away, let's say, and is not part of the discussion, the mere fact that we have parents who are directly with intention going to their daughter's high school and causing her harm in the presence of other children and a stranger and a passerby who sees this, I think that in and of itself is enough, because we won't always know a why. Even in so many of the cases we discuss on your show, we don't always know the why. So if we remove that from the equation, we still have other very significant issues, the what and the when and the how and the where, and that I think will supersede the why.
So well said, Dr. Debbie. You hit the nail right on the head. it chips away at the why. It doesn't allow prosecutors to fully bring the why, as you explained. But as you also noted so astutely, we've got the video. We've got the other evidence to show the who, what, when, where, how did this go down. So let's take another look together at this fight. Again, this video is from the Daily Mail. It's horrible to watch, and fortunately, prosecutors have this video, Dr. Debbie, to prove these crimes they've alleged. Your thoughts on when we think of intentionality right at that point in time, when you hear these other children screaming, let her go, get off of her, and he's trying to choke her out. It appears by the video, and according to police, that he was trying to kill her, had her in that chokehold. When we think about the criminality going on there, would love your thoughts as maybe a different mindset leading up to this, the upset about the relationship, and then here we have, it just seems like this relentless refusal to let go of that child.
Yes, Julie, 100%. And I would even submit that these are crimes of terror. When we see our children victimized by the very people who are supposed to love them and care for them, and as parents, we would take the bullet for our children. And even if it's not our direct children, it's just we're concerned members of society. So to see this footage and to even think about the enormity of what our young victim faced, you know, Julie, the numbers are staggering also. We look toward the United Nations, we look toward World Health Organization, and the estimates annually about the victimization of those with honor killings. It's anywhere from 5,000 to 20,000 annually. And I think why we don't have more specific numerics on this is because these are also crimes that go unreported and underreported, and many of which are passed on as runaways or suicides. So it's just a terrible atrocity of criminality that our young people are facing, and particularly girls and particularly women, to be retaliated against.
Preach, Dr. Debbie, preach. Excellent insight that you're sharing with us. And, you know, when I think about this, you're so right. You used that word, they're terrorizing, and I thought, bingo, that's exactly it, that this child allegedly, you know, was so scared and being put through the ringer in her own home that she runs away and then experiences this. Even though they can't say arranged marriage, they ought to say terrorization occurred. Dr. Debbie Goodman, we love you. Thank you so much for coming on the program this morning. Appreciate your insight. When we come back, we're going to talk about the case involving defendant Karina Cooper, the widow's words murder trial. So who shot and killed her husband, Ryan Cooper?
The microscopic comparisons conducted on the cartridge case from the scene, they were compared to the rifle submitted in report number 13, and the cartridge case was identified as having been fired in that rifle. In my case, that lab item number 49, it was a Ruger 10/22 rifle.
A man found shot in the face after his wife reportedly said that she wanted him dead.
Could her own words end up sealing her fate?
That smoking gun could not stay hidden forever.
The Widow's Words murder trial. Live coverage today on Court TV.
These are the cases that captivated the world.
Couldn't keep my life straight. They were killed by their own children.
That challenged the legal system and ourselves. Court TV, legendary trials.
Now for what's tipping the scales in the widow's words murder trial. Closing arguments expected today. No word yet if the defense will put on a case before that. The state resting Wednesday, but had several witnesses before that on the stand talking about firearms.
He was moving, and his girlfriend, whatever he was moving in with, had a daycare in her house, so I'm assuming he didn't want him there.
And is that what he told you?
No, he never said that. He just said, "Can you hold these for me?" And that was it.
How long did you have these guns?
6, 8 months maybe.
Okay. At some point during the time that you had possession of the 3 guns Huston Danker gave you, did you bring that fact up with Mr. Danker?
Yes.
And when you mentioned it, what was his response?
Don't worry about it. Just keep holding on to him.
And police found Ryan Cooper dead on a recliner chair at his home, shot twice in the face. Wednesday, the state's tool mark expert testified that the cartridge casing found at the scene was fired from one of the rifles owned by Huston Danker. Prosecutors say that he acted with Karina Cooper because they were lovers to murder Ryan Cooper so that they could be together. The defense is alleging that Danker and Danker alone is responsible for the killing. So, who shot Ryan Cooper? Let's talk about that. Let's bring in our legal analyst guests, John Phillips and Michael J. Brown, get their theories on that. John Phillips, to you first. Your thoughts, please.
Super, super messy. You know, the whole tangled web of affairs and money and life insurance and all of that. And that's what the most of the state's case has been, just kind of showing that Karina and this Huston Danker guy, you know, had all the reasons in the world and all the messages between them to conspire to kill poor Ryan Cooper. And you know, I tend to believe that's exactly how it happened.
Mm-hmm. All right, John. Michael J. Brown, your theory. Who do you think shot and killed Ryan Cooper?
Well, Julie, at the end of the day, I don't know if it really matters who actually pulled the trigger. I think they're going under the theory of an acting in concert theory, which is this accomplice liability. And regardless of who pulled the trigger, the bottom line is Karina, under their theory, I think, is acting in an assistance manner. She's aiding, abetting, and she's helping to accomplish the objective of the death. So as long as they can establish that, and I think they have, circumstantially, it really doesn't matter who actually pulled the trigger. The bottom line is she's in on it, she's involved in it, and it led to the death.
Michael, thank you for that. That was going to be my next question. I'm so glad you answered this for us. So let's kind of go into the law school professor mode. This is like going into criminal law, criminal procedure, class. So for anybody wondering, prosecutors, as you just said, don't need to firmly establish which one actually pulled the trigger. Michael, why is that? If they're able to establish the acting in concert theory, as you just laid out, why is it that legally it's not going to matter?
So, Julie, it goes down to that mens rea. If I have the same intent as the bad guy, if we both have the same intention, we would both want to achieve the same act of killing my husband, and that's what we're looking to do. If I assist in some way, so mere presence is enough, but I have to assist. I have to set it up. I have to orchestrate it. I have to provide a weapon. Any of those things assist and encourage the act. I am equally as culpable as the actual guy who pulled the trigger, so to speak.
Such a great explainer, Michael. Thank you for that. Let's continue, take it a step further. John Phillips, so he talked about the mens rea, right? And so for this conspiracy, we've got to have the meeting of the minds. You touched on this a moment ago. There were things that this couple really wanted to happen here.
Yeah, I mean, you just go back through the last couple of days of testimony, and I'm going to pull it up here, and just there's just so much talking about some of the financial support issues, Snapchat messages, taking him for everything. You know, that's it, right? Taking him for everything. You know, not just his money, not just the home, not just the kids, but his life.
Yeah, life insurance policies, they had to gain, so there's a money motive there. Like you said, they could be together. This was really, really bad. And, when I think back, law enforcement at the scene, that .22 caliber rifle was not there in the house. They looked in the house. So either she shot him with it allegedly and then passed it off to Loverboy, or Loverboy was in the house and did it allegedly and ran out of the house, or an intruder came in and just did it for I don't know what reason. So that's what we're working with here on this one. If you have a theory at home, share it with us. I'm being told we're out of time. And Michael J. Brown and John Phillips have cases they've got to win. We got to let them get to court.